All right, all right. What's up, everybody? Oh, we're back again. It is kind of a late one, but better late than never. I had to wait on Baron to get done with his show. He had a good show as usual. So anyway, what we're going to do tonight is, and I hope that I hope that most people have didn't put themselves through watching this whole show, but I've been on a Gary Milton from Paramount Tactical uh, binge for a while, and I don't know, he's just ridiculous, and I don't know, I don't know why he has devoted so much time to Candace Owens, but she is 100% living rent free in his head, and this last show that he did with, and just when I thought I'd heard the dumbest shit, he did the show with JWhitt, and I swear to God, it just absolutely blew my mind. Those two totally, completely made clowns out of themselves. So we're going to kind of go through that, and we're going to pause it here and there, and we're going to call them a dumbass every now and then because it was really, really, really bad. And I know Candace Owens' show is literally like 500 times the size of my show, but and she doesn't need me to stick up for her just the same. There's a lot of people out there that do listen to these people, and I tell you what, I don't know. I want to point out BS when I see it, and there was a lot of BS in this show. So that being said, let me get them pulled up. And I'm sorry. Go ahead and prepare yourself now. It's liable to be a little painful, but I think it's worth watching. So let's do it here.
Was an attempt by the Candace cult, and I know that there's certain Candace surrogates that have been telling people to report me and my content and things like that. So during this whole Candace thing, the first time ever, I got 2 strikes and was pulled off of YouTube for a month or
Oh, wow.
week. And so, and then I was, then we've had, I was off a month, or was it a week? I don't remember. I think it was a week.
Was he off a month or was he off a week?
But regardless, and then I've had like 2 or 3 streams. You were on one of them that I actually pulled down. A lot of my videos continue to get demonetized, and part of this I think we're easy prey because we are a 2A channel. I think part of that plays into this, and YouTube's never been a friend of mine to begin with. So
right, yeah. So I think just to answer the question, I think this is the easiest place for people to find content.
And now he is literally blaming his low numbers on Candace Owens. It is his videos being pulled down or whatever bullshit problems he's having is because of Candace Owens and her people. Doesn't have anything to do with the fact that he is literally 24/7, 365 days a year trashing the biggest podcast in the world, and just literally straight up lying and saying some of the dumbest shit in the world to try to make her look bad. I don't know what he thinks he's going to accomplish. She's the biggest podcast. She's the biggest podcast in the world. I don't see that changing. He is not going to convince anybody. All he's doing is hurting himself. So I don't know. I think it's kind of ridiculous to blame his problems with his show on her.
Again, I think, and Gary and I have talked about this I think we talked about on channel that we want Rumble to be more efficient, to be better, so that you can find. So we could do something exclusively over there and get a little bit more of a viewership, but it's just hard to work with them. They don't have a very user-friendly. You might not see it on the back. You might not see it on the forward-facing because it's more on the back end. It's just hard to work with them. When again, all you got to do is push a button and you pop up on YouTube. You don't have to go back, cut and pasting, repasting, and resharing. If you put something wrong, you got to go back and re-edit and start over again. That's just very discouraging. So I just hit the button, and your girl is not on yet, but we are ready. We're ready to be up in here, man.
that's yours.
I appreciate everybody's here. Go ahead, my friend. I don't think she hit the button yet. Somebody said she went live, but the button has not been hit. We're still sitting here. All right. Give me your overall thoughts on her attacks on Erica Kerr. Now, just outright blatant attacks on Erica Kerr.
Well, I mean, it's disgusting. There's no other. I don't really have another adjective for it.
Right.
Again, I'm always kind of thinking about what's going on with Candace and who she is and what she's doing and what she's. I mean, this is all can be tracked back to just high school nasty.
Has anybody ever heard her attack Erica Kirk? I have heard her ask questions, and a lot of people like these two clowns think that asking questions is the same as accusing somebody, but it's not. When the official story is obvious bullshit, then that means you got to kind of look into everything else. And since law enforcement doesn't want to do what law enforcement normally does and start close to home, I mean, she's got to start looking close to home. Now, she said from the get-go, I mean, she gave Eric Kirk a lot of grace. She never even looked that direction. What got her headed in that direction was when Erica started lying to her and lying on national television in front of God and everybody. Obvious big lies. And lies that would be told to cover up something pretty significant. It's not like she got bored and just decided to go after Erica Kirk. And she has not attacked her. She hasn't accused her. You know, she's had some questions, but like I said, only because, I mean, she did that to herself. She's the one that put her in a position to be questioned. So anyway, she's not attacking Erica Kirk.
Jealous girl gossip, right? What she's doing is she's sitting back at a table with a bunch of her
These two are sitting here like two jealous girls gossiping.
friends, and this girl comes walking in. That's cute. That's nice. And then they're just sitting there. They're just sitting there like, oh, look what she's wearing today. Oh, look at this. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look what kind of jewelry she has. Oh, look who the people that she hangs out with. It's that nasty high school girl smear that creates this illusion of suspicion and everything. And she's obviously has such a large table that she's sitting at, right? So she has such a large reach that it's effective. And I'm sure you've seen it too.
Right, guys,
fire in the hole.
Tuesday, a lot to uncover today. First and foremost, we have a lot of alibis that were given to us about September 10th, where people were when they got the news. And I have to say, these alibis are beginning to crumble like Building 7 on 9/11. We're going to talk about that too, Building 7, very briefly.
Wow.
Also, Ben Shapiro watches every single minute of the show. Trust me, he directly quotes it all the time, everywhere he goes. We don't know, but we know. And you have to watch this clip of him attempting to make fun of me. It's glorious. It's glorious. I really have one. Welcome back to Candace.
I think Ben Shapiro's right. I think he's got her number for sure.
I agree.
All right, here we go with alibis. Let's go with alibis, which is nasty work. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Green Hearts and Chapman, you can hear.
It's very macabre
A
work.
lot going on, you guys. A lot to cover, to uncover, and apparently our government is out there just trying to discover certain things. And I just have to tell you what's going on in this world right now. The best way that I can make you understand this. We're essentially the Muggles. For those of us who read Harry Potter, maybe those of us who were dweebing it like me and read it a few times in the story of Harry Potter, we're the Muggles. There's this entire world of witchcraft and wizardry, spiritual darkness, and spiritual.
I'm gonna stop real quick because I didn't watch Harry Potter. I haven't read Harry Potter. I'm not very interested in it. I just want to throw something out here, and I would like for you all, when she does it, just spam the chat and say, "I told you so, Jace. I told you so." Whenever she shows you actual evidence for what she's going to say, I don't even know what the Muggles are, but I guarantee you she's not going to show you any correlation and say, "Hey, this is an example. Gary is doing this, and I have proof. Here's evidence that you can see, that you can run with, and you can analyze yourself and see that I'm coming to the same conclusion." She will not do that. This is gonna be crazy.
Light that's happening, people that are practicing literally Babylonian magic, and they intentionally rendered us as the Muggles, the people who are not aware that it's going on at all. That all seems so ridiculous. That can't be true. And I think that began.
Say again, my friend.
I was just Babylonian magic.
Right, Babylonian magic. So
Project Looking Glass.
Yeah, we're back to Project Looking Glass, time travel, and such like that. Like, she means this thing. She's not saying this in hyperbole. She does in fact mean this. So this is not just like, Gary, it was magic how you call me.
What is so funny about that? What is so ridiculous about that? I mean, Project Looking Glass, I mean, Google it. It's on Wiki, or it's got a, I mean, you can find information on it easily. I don't understand what the big deal is about that. Crazy. They're just trying to be cute.
Right at the right time. No, she means magic.
And by the way, transforming us into idiots began when.
And they can laugh all they want. A lot of other people have made this point, and I've made this point a lot and will continue to. You can think it's funny. You cannot believe in magic. You cannot believe in the whole good and evil. You cannot believe in God. You cannot believe in Satan. At the end of the day, the powers that be, that ought not be, the powers that be, they do believe in God and they do believe in the devil, and they worship the devil, in my opinion, allegedly. And so whether you believe in any of that stuff or not, they do. So at the end of the day, it's nice to be aware of these things so you can kind of tell where they're coming from and know that they're not coming from a good place. Um, so yeah, they're laughing, they're making jokes, they're acting cute, but at the end of the day, you know, she's not she's not even claiming that any of this is real. She is she's telling a story and describing what these people's intentions are. Like, you don't have to believe it's real. They do. That's the problem.
They, in America, when they removed the Bible out of the classroom, that used to be taught at public schools, the Bible, so that you knew.
Okay, I'm here to pick fights. What's
Yeah, he is. And he is definitely picking one right here. This is the most asinine thing I have ever heard.
stops if the Bible being removed from classrooms, which by the way is weird work. I'm a former classroom teacher. You really didn't want these people teaching your kids Bible. I'll be honest with you. But
The conservative position for years, decades, has been that we should have never taken prayer out of the schools. We should have never taken the Bible out of the schools. This jackass hates Candace Owens so much that he is going to get on here and tell the world that it was not a bad thing that they took the Bible out of schools. It was a good thing, in fact, because you didn't want those people teaching your kids the Bible anyway.
what's stopping you as a parent from teaching your child Bible once you get home?
Nothing is stopping us from teaching our kids the Bible. The point is they go to school all day, every day to be indoctrinated and come home, be taught to be a little heathen and, atheist. Like that's what these schools are turning out at the end of the day. Okay, maybe you don't agree with 100% how the Bible's getting taught. We're not saying that they should be preaching sermons in school. We're not saying they should be teaching theology. We're not saying that any of that. But if nothing else, looking at the Bible as a piece of history, like, studying the Bible is a good thing, has always been a good thing, and will always be a good thing. And for this jackass to call himself a Christian and a Christian conservative and to jump on here and talk about how it's good that the Bible was taken out of schools because we didn't want those people teaching our kids the Bible anyway is asinine, retarded. The guy is a clown.
I'll wait. And here's a bonus question. What's stopping Candace from teaching the Bible here on her show? Nothing. That's right. Not a thing. It doesn't matter.
The real point behind this, though, Jason, is she's mixing Christianity speak with all the other stuff that she's going to present, which is demonic in itself. She's going to convince you that there is witchcraft at play, that there's all these things going in play, and then she's going to even talk about witchcraft essentially, like when Charlie's coming to her in her dreams, revealing things. Like, that's completely, again, not biblical.
Right.
But so she mixes this around.
It's not biblical. For one, I don't think she said that the dead Charlie was communicating with her in her sleep. That's the first part.
Around in the same way that the devil actually quoted scripture to Jesus as he's tried to tempt him. So this is what we're dealing with, and this is the type of person that we're dealing with. It is demonic, and she is the head of it all.
What is that type, Gary? I don't believe I heard you say, what is that type?
Let's keep it going. Let's get it.
Your history, and then kind of Hollywood rose and they sort of make fun of people that go to church. They've also, people that do go to church are having the word perverted in some ways, as we've covered extensively on this show. They made us think essentially that the Bible was a fairy tale, effectively blind.
I'm guessing by the gestures coming from Mr. JWhitt there that he doesn't think that Christians get made fun of, or that people get made fun of for going to church. I mean, good Lord, right now the Christians are the number one most they're the most persecuted group out there right now. The absolute worst position you can be in this day and age is to be a straight white male Christian.
Us all to the fact that it is very real. All of it is real. Angels, demons. Today's just going to be one of those WTF episodes when I share with you the true story of what the heck we were doing in Iraq.
We were capturing a Sumerian magic device. That's what we're doing.
I thought we were running duck and cover for Indiana Jones, special ops for Indiana Jones, and the lost, I don't know, pacifier of Pharaoh. I don't know. It was something. Moses' gym shoes from 3rd grade PE class. We were there. That's what we were there to uncover, right?
Jokes. They got jokes. All kinds of jokes. These guys are jackasses. They are not serious people. They literally, this is the most pointless, dumbass, asinine thing I've seen in a very, very long time. Again, making these stupid ass jokes. Just like it just absolutely couldn't be that we were over there trying to do something other than what we stated we were over there for. I mean, we got lied to. They lied to get us into that war. They claimed there was things going on that were not. But yet, obviously, these two jackasses feel like, in spite of all that, they're telling the truth when they say now what the actual purpose was for us to be there. Maybe those stated purposes were why we were there. Maybe a certain faction had some other things they wanted to do while they were over there. They act like it's ridiculous. I mean, go just read some books. I mean, how many of these huge skeletons of these giants have literally been found and then went to the Smithsonian and just disappeared forever? You hear about this all the time. These artifacts, these, you hear about all these artifacts and stuff that just literally go into this black hole, never to be seen or heard from again. So why is it so crazy to believe that, maybe they were there doing what she's fixing to explain right now?
Again, somebody mentioned it this week that they think Candace got hit with another cease and desist, or her lawyers told her that she needs to stop because she seems to be taking her foot off the pedal, even though yesterday was gross. I admit. She seems to not be coming out the gate talking about TPUSA. It's almost like she's adding some more things in there so she can say, like, well, I was going crazy. I was having a psychedelic moment or whatever that nature. Because this is just bona fide insanity. And yesterday was probably even worse. But all right, let's go.
Let's go back. Let's go backward.
Backward.
Let's recap the Muggle edition of what we were told. Okay. The Muggle edition goes like this. On September 11th, 2001, some super duper evil Muslims, known to most of us now as Israelis, hijacked some planes and drove them into the Pentagon, flew them into the Pentagon building, also the Twin Towers. And then Building 7 kind of got really emotional seeing his friends get hit and went ahead and just collapsed itself. Right.
Gary, I know I told you, bro. I'm going to try not to rage quit because I got guests here today. We had 1,200 people watching. I'm going to do my very best not to rage quit. I cannot promise you that this is evil.
Yeah.
Again, go ahead, man. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, and what she's doing here is she's undermining the credibility of some real, look, there are still some questions unanswered about.
Absolutely.
No questions about.
There are some questions that are unanswered. That's the understatement of the year. I mean, they have not answered anything. The whole entire thing was bullshit. So it goes way further than questions left unanswered.
We should discuss. And Building 7 is a real mystery. That being said,
it's really not a mystery anymore.
Ready to throw out. There could be explanations that we just don't understand. The fact is we don't know. But what she's doing here.
Oh, I think we know. We may not know, but we know.
Is like, I want to believe every time she speaks, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going with the official narrative. I hate you so much.
Right.
I'm going to go with the.
And there is the issue right there. I hate you so much. Why? I don't know. But this has nothing to do with truth seeking. This has nothing to do with him calling out misinformation and trying to inform the public and blah, blah, blah. And her being such a, menace to society and such a, he hates her. Why? Who knows? But that is what all of this is about.
Opposite of whatever you say. But all joking.
I mean, you heard him say, you know what? I'll go with the official narrative. I hate you so much. I'll go with the official narrative. And 110%, that is what that's his whole mindset and outlook on this whole Charlie Kirk thing. He is preaching that Fed slop narrative. I mean, and just beating people over the head with it. And accusing her of lying and being such a terrible person when at the end of the day, it all boils down to he don't like Candace Owens. Big whoop. So why the hell are you trying to confuse other people? Why the hell are you trying to push this stuff that everybody knows is a lie just because you have some issue with Candace Owens?
Aside, she's taking these very serious issues because she doesn't have any in-depth knowledge about any of these things. And she's making jokes about it and comparing it to Harry Potter and turning it into this Muggle story because her audience are morons. Let's just, like, I no longer.
There's no doubt that.
There you go. That's real smart. Maybe that's what's wrong with your channel. Maybe that's what's wrong with your views. You just called her audience, the largest audience, a bunch of idiots. You know, some of her audience probably watched you or did watch you. Maybe that's what's happening. When you call a huge, I mean, over 5 million subscribers on YouTube alone, a huge group of people, idiots, because you have an issue with Candace. You're not doing yourself any favors. And he's not smart enough to see that, obviously.
No question.
I no
And that guy over the top of him is just as dumber than he is.
longer even blame Candace Owens. I blame her godless, idiotic,
Smooth brain.
yeah, like that is the problem. These are people
Godless, idiotic, no brain. And he is talking about, like I said, a huge group of people.
that are hateful, that are vile. I think they're a bigger problem than Candace Owens herself, because most of this stuff I think Candace Owens is making up. She doesn't believe. She just knows that her moron wine slop cultists will believe whatever she says. It doesn't matter how ridiculous it is. They have no use of they've abandoned logic. They've abandoned common sense. They've abandoned any sort of, I don't know, moral.
You just said you were not even going to use any common sense. If she says it, bam, I'm going the other way. So don't be talking common sense.
Structure whatsoever, and are willing to say and do whatever it takes to destroy someone that she has directed them to hate. Hey, I want you to hate Erica Kirk for all of the Gossip Girl reasons that I said. I don't like the way her hair is. She cries too much. She doesn't cry enough. She didn't mourn long enough. She
She's on the tarmac too long.
There is a huge difference between the shit that he just listed off and legitimate gripes. Like, let's see. She said, oh no, I couldn't be at this place doing this because I was here. Oh shit. Come to find out she wasn't there. Or jumping on a Zoom call with, you know, all the employees of Turning Point, getting on there bragging about the fact that they had 300,000 new donors, 100,000 new chapter requests. They had 50 or 55,000 new hat orders. Said they pulled off the event of the century. These are not conversations generally that are had a week and a half or whatever it was after your husband dies. I mean, how do you take your husband's memorial, you know, and you were supposed to be so devastated, you know, from his death. How are you supposed to take his memorial and look at it? I mean, just see it with dollar signs. That's all it was. And nobody can convince me any different. When she talks, I mean, you'll know a tree by its fruit. Those conversations are not the conversations of a devastated mourning widow. Sorry. I mean, she's not attacking anybody.
She wore too much
sparkly suit, like
too much pyrotechnic. Like really, like she can't win. Erica couldn't win no matter what.
It is not any of those particular things. It is a collective. I mean, it is the combination of all these things. The combination of the fact that you have this quote unquote trad wife that always wore the dresses and seemed to be super conservative. And now all of a sudden she comes out on stage with the fireworks with, you know, leather pants, sparkling suits head to toes. You could just tell she like basks in the light and everything whenever she comes out. She loves the attention. And then to get on there, like I said, and treat her husband's memorial like a cash cow. They sold t-shirts at the memorial. How many funerals have you been to where you could buy a t-shirt, where you could buy souvenirs? If I die and my wife sells hats or shirts at my funeral, I'm coming back. I can promise you.
So, okay, let's, no, I'm with you 100%. I wish we disagreed on something, but we don't.
By the way, I should mention that over at the Pentagon, that plane was also
It's hard to disagree when two people are being paid to put out one message.
very unique. It apparently had no wings when it just dove into the Pentagon. Some people said they heard a missile, but we won't ask questions. We're not.
What's he wowing about? Has anybody ever seen one single picture or video clip of the Pentagon with anything other than a single round hole in it? I haven't. Matter of fact, me and my son had this conversation a while back. Something got brought up about 9/11. He mentioned the plane hitting the Pentagon, and I said, the plane never hit the Pentagon. And he said, yes, it did. No, it didn't. Yes, it did. He kind of laughed. I said, you get online, you right now, find me one picture, one video of a plane hitting the building. He pulled it up and showed it to me. I said, where's the wings? That plane just crashed into that building. Where did the wings go in there? So he's laughing like he thinks that's all funny, that she's doubting the plane hit the Pentagon. Again, making herself look like an
To
idiot.
debate those conspiracies. We were told that this was executed by the Saudis. They had hijacked the plane. How did we know? Well, because one of them was kind enough as to conveniently drop off his passport on the sidewalk to make sure that we knew that it was them that was getting away with these super duper evil crimes. I'll remind you of that video very quickly about the passport being found.
Donna, when these buildings came crashing down on Tuesday, they sent debris showering in several blocks in every direction. And it was in one of those areas a couple of blocks away from the World Trade Center site, apparently where that passport was found. The FBI announcing that it has found the passport of one of the hijackers who was on board one of those two planes that hit the Twin Towers on Tuesday morning.
I mean, I was young. For those of you that were not young and were grown adults, did you just accept that? I was a kid. That's my excuse, okay?
Gary, do you remember how old you were?
I do. I was 20 years old.
Really?
Yep.
I was 32. That means I'm. Hey, wait, man, hold on.
I was born in
Don't be doing that math, y'all. Don't be doing that math. Don't be
This dumbass don't even know how old he was.
doing that math.
What year were you?
Hey, let's not talk about that. Let's not talk about that. Now I feel like really old. 74. I was born in 74.
You're a young 74.
Oh, well, there we go. No, I heard that story and I thought it was garbage too. I
Well,
did.
look,
Or it was very, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was going to finish what you were saying. I'm sorry.
No, when I heard that, I'm like, man, get up out of here. But that didn't change anything for me. I didn't think I thought the whole finding the passport on the side of the road was definitely something to be considered comedy at best. But it didn't change anything else for me. Candace will change her whole narrative because
That didn't change anything else. The fact that they lied about the proof of who did this doesn't change anything else. I mean, for me, it changed a little bit. I mean, like, okay, they said the Saudis did this because this Saudi man dropped his passport in a plane crashing into a building that exploded. And then it managed to somehow eject and find its way to the ground without so much as a singe on any of the pages. Okay, that's a lie. So, was that planted? If that was planted, then are you lying about who did this? Maybe, probably. So he thought that was garbage, but it didn't change anything for him.
they found the passport on the side of the road. Like, and I've said this before, like she makes mountains out of molehills. She just gets
That is not a molehill. Like, that is huge. I mean, that's huge in that whole story and that whole narrative.
fixated with something that doesn't make sense. And it doesn't matter how important or not important it is to the story. Gary, why do we drive on parkways? But
He just acts like this is literally nothing. That was one of the key pieces of evidence in that whole thing that pointed him in the Saudi direction. And it was 100% bullshit. And anybody with a brain knew it was bullshit. And he's literally acting like she's stupid for considering that.
park on driveways. I don't get it. And she just keeps going and going and going. It won't stop until you explain why we drive on parkways and drive and park on driveways.
Well, what she's
Really? Guy's an idiot. I'm telling you. We park on driveways. I understand what he's trying to say, but I drive in my driveway every single day.
really doing here is she's taking credible conspiracy theories. Because
Yes.
again, some of these, I don't believe that a passport just happened to fall out of that either. I don't have an explanation to that, but I can tell you the passport of one of the terrorists in that burning inferno that just happened to fall out on it. I don't believe that. I don't have an explanation for it. There could have been more people involved.
I got a hypothesis for it. It didn't fall out of a burning airplane. It comes straight out of some FBI or whatever, whoever, some Fed agent's pocket and into an evidence bag. And they said, oh, here it is. I mean, maybe that's not, yeah, that's an explanation. It may not be 100% fact. Maybe there's a slightly different twist there. But there's your explanation. He said he has no explanation.
There could have been CIA involved. There could have been Al-Qaeda people on the ground involved. There could have been Saudi Arabian intelligence operatives involved. There's lots of explanation. But the problem here, what's really going on, is she's taking credible conspiracies and she's trying to build credibility of her own BS, this stuff that makes no sense.
Right.
Like, we don't have anything compare that instance to what's going on with the Charlie Kirk. Like,
there we go.
The French Foreign Legion killed Charlie.
This is really starting to make my head hurt. Okay. So she's taking a credible conspiracy and trying to use it to, whatever he said, credit her, whatever. Oh, me. So I don't think that's exactly true. I think she's just literally using it as a comparison. And then he said she has nothing to compare it to, the Charlie Kirk. Oh, yeah, we got all kinds of stuff to compare it to. I can easily come up with several things, but I'll tell you the first one. The first one. Oh, we have searched this neighborhood high and low, every single square inch. Feds, police, whatever. Even got the bomb dogs in there. Search the whole area. I take that back. I'm sorry. That was before the feds came along. Cops searched the area. They even got bomb dogs in there. They went over every square, like all over the place, trying to find something. Guess what? They couldn't find anything. Feds show up. A few minutes later, somebody's like, hey, come here, Mr. Police Officer. Hey, why don't you go check over there? And he said, well, we've already checked over there. And he said, I think you need to go check over there again. I mean, I had just got a feeling there's something around here somewhere. They go check and, oh shit, hey, there's a gun here. Wonder why we didn't find this. That's your unburnt passport.
Kirk, but you still haven't given us any evidence of that. So what she's saying is, okay, there is evidence. These are the conspiracies that are true, so therefore my conspiracy is true. Just like where I always hear people, well then, oh, you don't think Charlie Kirk was killed by, I don't know, the CIA, the freaking French Foreign Legion? Oh, what about Martin Luther King or JFK?
Oh my gosh.
Because one thing is true doesn't make the other things true. That is a absolute fallacy.
So here's a question. Martin Luther King, JFK, RFK. Let's see. You had an attempt on Reagan. So let's just take those. Yeah, there's others out there. Let's just take those. What's the one thing that they all have in common? If you break them down and you do your homework, you go back and you really look, the one main thing they all have in common is obviously our government hasn't come out and admitted this, but by all appearances, they were all orchestrated by intelligence agencies. They were they were not just some. It's always a lone shooter narrative, and it never has been a lone shooter narrative. It's always been the intelligence agencies, always. So at the end of the day, that right there would be my first reason for looking at the whole, stepping back from the Charlie Kirk situation and saying, again, they're saying this is a lone shooter, some crazy kid. So maybe we should consider that that's absolutely not the case, just because all of the other major political assassins that we've had over the past years, it's never been true.
And it's illogical. It's dumb. It's the laziest.
It is not illogical. It's not dumb, and it's definitely not lazy. Lazy is taking what cross-eyed Kash Patel says as the God's honest truth, and that goofy ass Governor Cox over there in Utah, and saying, okay, well, they said this is how it happened, so that's the way it happened. That is lazy. That's intellectually lazy. Any of these people that have been involved in investigating this whole Kirk thing and are, coming to alternate, hypotheses, they're definitely not lazy. These people have done a lot. Candace being one of the big ones. Baron Coleman, my God, amazing. Ian Carroll. I mean, I could go down the list. These people are not lazy. And to me, that is just absolutely disgusting to call these people lazy and saying that's a lazy, way of looking at things.
It's the laziest. It's intellectually lazy and it's dumb. I don't know.
No, I'm right there with you. And I think this is, and she does this a lot. And she likes to
I'm right there with you.
try to dovetail her ideas onto things that, because most people, Harry Potter is about to be put out on Audible, so it's out there in the world. People are talking about Harry Potter, and they're even considering, if I'm not mistaken, rebooting and redoing the whole series again in live action. There's been rumblings of that, so she knows there's audience that people are hearing and talking about Harry Potter. So she inserts her crazy story into the Harry Potter narrative, as well as credible conspiracies and credible questions from 9/11 to bolster and make her case. Even though her case is flimsy on its face, it doesn't need Harry Potter, it doesn't need 9/11. She just wants it to try to bolster it up. But
look, I bet she's doing market research on all this. I
wouldn't doubt it.
I bet she is actually paying for, like, hey, out of my audience, like, what are some themes that resonate with them? Is it 9/11? Is it Harry Potter? Like, folks, this is so engineered and construed at this point, and if you can't see that, you're blind.
Let me also add another then.
This asshole don't have to do any kind of market research. He's working with TPUSA, with the whole super feeds and the Make Kevin Crowded tour and the oh Lord, what is the name of that? Oh God. Oh, what is the name of that thing? They had to file through FARA. The ones that are doing the thousands of churches, all the geofencing and data collection and all that. So he doesn't have to do that market research. He's got somebody else that's doing it and then bottle feeding it to him. So anyway, I thought that was pretty ironic for him to say.
Remember, did you see the Ben Shapiro commentary about her?
Which one?
The one that he was doing a live Q&A where somebody asked him a question saying that Candace said she had a dream about you. And did you see that conversation? I'm sure she's gonna bring it up. But it's funny because in the dream, Candace says that she's playing chess with Ben Shapiro, but she's not playing regular chess. She's playing Harry Potter 4D chess. So I'm wondering even if that's part of why she brought it up, is to keep bringing that Harry Potter into the narrative, because that's what Ben Shapiro was talking about in that rebuttal to her. I'm sure she's gonna bring it in. And if not, we'll play it later. Okay, let's get this going.
In middle school. But for those of you that were not in middle school, did you just accept this? Those of you that had families, did you go watch the news and go, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, the debris just from, we could not even find human remains, but the debris just unfortunately flew away out the window.
And just so you know, I apologize, but this is going to take a couple days. I'm sorry. This makes my head hurt. And we haven't even got close to the Charlie Kirk thing. She hasn't even got, into the whole Iraq thing yet. They have said more words. I believe they've said more words of peace than she has said. They have paused this so much to just talk this absolute shit. So we'll sit there as long as we can. I'll take as much of it as I can, and then we'll have to pick it back up.
He's like, through his passport. I have so many questions about that. But again, we're not here to relitigate 9/11. We know how we felt. We all gathered around those
Pause this for a second. I hate to
TVs.
keep you
no problem.
We were.
I think
No problem.
what she doesn't understand are the people that actually went through this. Like, we didn't find this stuff out the day after or that day or anything else. What we watched was something horrific. We saw people jumping out of the buildings. We get emotional
crazy.
about it.
Yeah.
This is why. So for people that don't know, I had a career. I was 20 years old. I was a young father at the time already. And I had a career. I was working at a sales company. I'd already made junior vice president of a sales company. I was doing sales and things like that. Perfectly happy, making a lot of money for someone my age. And 9/11 happened, and 2 days later, I was in the recruiting station. And that's what began my entire military career. I wanted revenge so bad for what took place. And watching everything that happened, the way that she's belittling the people that went through this, the way that she is minimizing the traumatic effect. I don't know.
She's not minimizing anything, and she's not belittling anybody. Matter of fact, I'm sure she, just like myself, has the utmost sympathy for these people that were harmed in this. Any of these points that she's bringing up, or any of the points that I would bring up when I'm discussing this with somebody else, don't take anything away from the victims. At the end of the day, if you look at it strictly from the victim's point of view, yes, in a way it doesn't matter, but now in a way it does. It's bad enough to these victims to have these horrible things happen to them or happen to their family members. But how much worse is it to consider that not only did this happen, not only was this done to them, but that they were betrayed and that it was done to them by their own government, the ones that have sworn oaths to protect and defend them. So don't even go there with me on that taking away from the victims and all that stuff, because it absolutely does not. Yeah, there's some crackpots out there that have some theories that the whole thing never happened. I'm sorry, I'm not going there. That's just not. I don't feel like that's the case. All those people died. All these terrible things happened. What is questioned is why and how it happened. Was it some crazy terrorist from across the world that did this all on their own because they hate our freedoms? Or did our government use some of these people from across the world to help facilitate this, to bring in stuff like the Patriot Act, to take away all our freedoms? And if you want to get real serious and deep into it, to basically perform these rituals, if you want to get into the whole numbers and symbolism of everything. But, what was it? Was it just some crazy terrorists, or was this an inside job and were we all betrayed? I think that is the main question. I think that is the whole purpose of questioning these points. It is absolutely not to take anything away from anybody that was affected by this, directly or indirectly.
None of us knew who did it for sure. What I will say is that we were at such an emotional high. We were so emotionally driven at that point. We just wanted something done, and we were primed to be tricked. I will admit that. And I do think there's unanswered questions. I'll leave it like that. I don't think that we were tricked into Iraq. I've lost lots of friends in Iraq. I did 2 combat tours in Iraq. I did the initial invasion into Iraq, was there for 13 months, and then came back a couple of years later, did another 10 months in Iraq. So a lot of devastation, almost lost my lives dozens and dozens of times in Iraq. I think that was a waste. And I think that ultimately the reason that we didn't win the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan was because our leaders didn't want us to win the war, even though we could have, because it was much more beneficial, financially beneficial, that we prolong these wars and we stay out there. From a defense standpoint, there's lots of benefits to us being deployed overseas. And a lot of defense contractors, a lot of politicians, and we can use this as pushing public policy. We saw what happened with, our rights being limited by the Patriot Act.
Yeah, Patriot Act,
agree with. So there's lots of questions, but for her to sit there and be like, you people were just dumb, like, it infuriates me at a level.
So.
That's not what she said. Well, actually, her point was, people are not that dumb. Like, you would think that they would at least try a little harder to, pull the wool over our eyes. I think the point she's making is that they lied, not that anybody was dumb for believing it. Her whole point is that they lied to us, like they've done time and time again, and like they continue to do. It sucks, but it is what it is. People have got to get through their head that they cannot believe it just because you hear it on the news or you see some politician say it. That's just a sad fact. That's the way it is. And he is trying to stir the pot, tug at people's heartstrings, mess with their emotions, get them all upset because Candace Owens is saying everybody that believed that was dumb. No, Candace Owens was not saying that. Candace Owens was saying they're liars.
That I just want to reach through and, I don't know, caress her face.
Oh, don't do it. Don't give into it, Gary. No.
Like, do you hear that? Do you hear that? Like, this dude's got issues.
I agree with you 1,000%. And again, it does minimize where people were. Because now, hindsight is 2020. What have we been, like 25 years? Yeah. There's a whole lot of hindsighting that we've been doing since then.
Some of the information we didn't find out till years later. Like,
there's some information we find out till yesterday. I mean,
and nobody's blaming him for enlisting and going and doing what he thought was right, and for going to protect his country, serve his country. Nobody's taking anything away from him for that. Again, all the questions go back to what was the actual reason we were there in the first place, not why did you enlist and why did you decide to go. He's trying to make it sound like it's personal. It's a personal attack on him. No.
Yeah, right. So I don't think it's fair to look at it. And then this is what I call historical revisionism, where you look back at 9/11. Don't quote me on it. It was 11:45 in the morning, and you act like at that moment we know everything that we know. I'm sorry, we knew everything then that we know now. That's not true. That wasn't true. It wasn't. So, okay, let's
What wasn't true?
keep this game going because we got a lot to get through.
Yep.
Shout out to the best live chat. Make sure y'all please jump into the chat. Let's go.
Perhaps expecting that as a result of this, we may indeed have to go to war with Saudi Arabia. That's what makes sense. They dropped the passports off for us to find in the debris. But that actually didn't happen. Oddly, we were told a couple years later that we had to go to war with Iraq very quickly. Now, yesterday, I mentioned to you all the Epic of Gilgamesh of Uruk, understood to be actually the story of Nimrod in the Bible.
If you believe that Candace has read the Epic of Gilgamesh, please in the chat. Please in the chat. Please a book emoji. If you believe that Candace has ever read the Epic of Gilgamesh, I'm just going to ask you the question. Just put it in the chat.
Was a warrior who rebelled against God. Nimrod
And what in the hell would make anybody believe there's a better chance that JWhitt has read the Epic of Gilgamesh?
and established his own kingdom in Mesopotamia and in Assyria. I'm showing you this map of that region so you can see where exactly we're speaking about. Kind of feels like.
And yeah, she kind of comes across to me as the type that's pretty well read. She's pretty curious. I'd say she's read it.
Where we're doing a lot of stuff right now, actually. Lebanon, Syria, and now we're talking about going into Iran. Well, I got an email yesterday from one of you, and I
Clean break strategy. Clean break memo, whatever it was called. What was it? 7 countries in 5 years? Yeah, we surpassed the original timeline a little bit, but Iran's all that's left. So yeah.
have to read it to you because I went, no way, no way. I also got some other.
I'm going to just stop.
Here we go again.
Her inbox is the Arkham Asylum to Batman. Her inbox is the rogues gallery of whatever superhero you need. That's it. I'm sorry. Every story starts with, I got a message, I got an email, you won't believe. I had 50, 100,000 million emails, and this one just popped up.
Did she say anything about email or a message before she started talking about this? Did she? I may have missed that. He said everything. I haven't heard her say that yet.
To the top, Gary. It never fails. Every
It failed.
rabbit trail that she's gone on has started with an email or some kind of message external, some kind of external message. Mitch Snow, that crazy lady that was on meth, talking about Erica. This story, the plane story, was an email. The Red Crane, every story starts with an email. That's crazy work. When did she ever realize that the emails are playing you? Okay, I'm sorry. Let's go.
Maybe nobody takes you serious enough to send you a tip. Maybe. You think? I don't know.
You want to say anything, Gary? You're like, look.
I just like this comment because it's exactly correct. Wyoming gal 64 passport on the sidewalk equals turning point killed Charlie Kirk.
There you go. 26 years later. There you go. That's the logic. I can see it. There you go. Shout out to Wyoming gal. You squared that peg. You got it.
Again, I make this point one more time. The whole point of that passport is that these people do not mind a bit to lie to us. They are known for manufacturing evidence and saying, oh, look what I found. This is the proof. This is what happened. Now, forget about it and go on about your day. Just like the weapon that could not be found. Whoops, until the FBI showed up and says, go look one more time. And oh, all of a sudden there's a rifle there. I think she was just trying to kind of show that it wouldn't just be out of the realm of possibility for them to manufacture some evidence. Oh, and while I'm on that, I don't know how many have been keeping up with the whole Tyler Robinson thing, but, they had to admit, one of the prosecutors had to admit in court today that, the rifle did have Tyler Robinson's DNA on it, along with, I think 4 others. Pretty sure it was a total of 5 separate DNAs on the evidence collected there. So thought that was pretty interesting. And again, just because it's got Tyler Robinson's DNA on it does not mean that he ever fired a shot from it there at UVU. But that's that's different discussion for a different day.
This woman right here. Somebody said she won't read shampoo directions. Dang, man. Dang. That's pretty harsh, man. Goodness.
But this one, I'm going to read you.
Whoa,
Received
whoa.
this in every email.
Hold it. She's actually put it on the screen. Wow. I'm sorry. She can say Ben Shapiro watches her show. She watches my show because I say this every time. She actually put it on the screen.
But I watched your show today and felt led to send you this email you mentioned in your show about the Clintons wanting to find Gilgamesh's tomb. You need to look up the research that was done by Rob Skiba. They did find Gilgamesh, aka Nimrod. He was a giant. He was very well intact. Yes, we
I'm sorry.
invaded just after he was found. The first place that we went during that war and set up a base was a museum. Not just any museum, the museum that held all of the relics for that. It also held all of the cuneiform tablets from Babylon and Gilgamesh and or Nimrod's tomb. They said that the museum was, quote, raided, and that they, the military, retrieved everything except for the tablets that had to do with reincarnating and bringing back the Nephilim, fallen angels, noted in Genesis 6. The Bible speaks of this. This is not a fantasy. This is a fact.
This is a fantasy.
They have to have Nimrod to bring the Antichrist forth. Please go watch Babylon Rising by Rob Skiba or read the book or his other work on this. He has done many videos and books and backs his work up and uses scripture too. He's not the only one that knows this and had vetted these things out. I pray if you didn't already know this, and it helps you continue on your quest for truth. Now, that term Babylon Rising instantly flagged me as interesting because as I
What doesn't flag to you as interesting? I will absolutely be stunned if you can tell me what doesn't come across as interesting. So let me make sure I got this right. And Gary, you might not, because you don't watch this, and you definitely are more concerned about your mental health than clearly I am.
Oh no, I've watched it.
But you know,
Yep.
one of the things I noticed is that the beginning of her show is the longest portion of her show. Kind of like the news, it's a large, it might be like 20 minutes long. And then she'll do an ad read, then she'll come back to another segment, which is smaller, and then another ad read, and then she does comments. So this is, dare I say, the most valuable. If you're looking at a newspaper, this is the above the fold section of the news, the most important stuff that she wants to get out. And she's talking about reincarnating Nimrod, the Nephilim, and Babylon falling. Okay. Gotcha.
So hold on real quick. I just happened to Google real quick Babylon Rising by Tim LaHaye, Greg Dillinello, which I'm assuming is what she's talking about. These are novels. They're described as fact-based thrillers focused on biblical prophecy, such as The Search for a Brazen Serpent. Action-adventure thriller series featuring archaeologist Michael Murphy, who authenticates Bible prophecies while uncovering artifacts and fighting evil forces. All right, so this is the equivalent of the Da Vinci Code. All right, this
I'm just Left Behind series. Yeah.
This is not factual. This is fiction. I'm going to do some more research on this just to. But I thought people should know that
You might already do that before you say too much.
going into this.
Yeah, and I'm looking. I don't see anything that looks like what. And it's funny because she'll probably pull this up. She'll probably go with the Tim LaHaye, because Tim LaHaye also did the Left Behind series. So she'll probably run with it and never do any research. Never do it. Let's go.
I've been speaking to you about what the elite practice and telling you, but this goes back to the Sumerian tablets. Ha ha ha, Project Looking Glass. They freaked out when I discussed that. This idea of these occultists, Babylon Rising, the names of their books, this Babylonian magic, it's a theme that just keeps cropping up, whether you're referring to Aleister Crowley or Jack Parsons. So I went, wait a second, because we never really did get an answer for what we were doing in Iraq. You know, the email happens to check out. Surely enough, back in 2002, a group of German geophysicists began making trips into modern day Iraq to map out what they believed they had discovered, which was ancient Iraq that aligned with the ancient texts of Gilgamesh. I'm going to show you this headline because I honestly, this is unbelievable. Two German geophysicists, one named Georg Fassbinder and Helmut Becker, they were working for the Bavarian State Conservation Office in Munich, and they began using magnetic mapping to discover the old city. And suddenly they go, wait a second, this is his tomb. When exactly did they find it? We know for sure that it was sometime between May 2002 and very early 2003. They became convinced that indeed they had found the actual tomb of Gilgamesh, also, like I said, known as Nimrod in the Bible. This is within the exact timeline that we make a decision to invade Iraq. It's going to get even more insane. So it's February 5th, 2003. Colin Powell publicly states, rather notoriously now infamously states, that Iraq possessed weapons of mass destruction. He's holding up the anthrax. He's addressing the United Nations Security Council. Okay. Then, that quickly, next month on March 20th, 2003.
By the way, that little vial of that anthrax he was holding up, I don't know if how many people are aware, but that was actually traced back to, was it Fort Detrick or whatever? Either way, one of the, military bases here in the United States is where it originated. So that's a pretty interesting data point, I'd say.
We invade Iraq. The public is informed a couple of weeks thereafter, the BBC, so state arm, that Fassbinder indeed had made the discovery of Gilgamesh's tomb. And conveniently, well, guess what our boys did? They were there. They happened to make their military base at that exact location. Like, this is just incredible. Colin Powell publicly states there's weapons of mass destruction during his address, and then bam, there we are on top of Babylon. What exactly were we doing there?
I just want to know, what exactly are we doing here? I don't know what we were doing there, Gary. I just want to know what we're doing here. What is she talking about?
Well, she's making the case that because something that she's going to allege is true, everything that she now alleges is true. That's what she does. It's like you have to believe this because, or you're denying that JFK was assassinated by his own government or conspiracy or the Jews or whatever else. It's like that's what she's doing. She's making a case that says, hey, you know what? If this is true, then this is true. I'm going to take the merits of this example and we're going to apply that over here to what I'm saying about all the craziness with.
I'm just going to stop him there. She doesn't actually directly say this, but I'm just going to go and say he's totally wrong, whether it's intentional or whether he's just retarded. Here lately, her episodes have not been 100% devoted to Charlie Kirk. She has been touching on some other issues, especially considering the fact that we have all these Epstein documents, files that have been dropped recently. I believe the point of what she is talking about right now is more along the lines of, instead of tying this in, this is related to Charlie Kirk. I think it's more like here is some more circumstantial evidence or other stuff to, that would be related to the fact that our world and our country and government specifically is run by a bunch of devil worshiping satanic pedophiles. I can't really argue with that. I feel like that's her point. I don't think she's trying in any way to tie this to Charlie Kirk, but again, I mean, he's just talking shit, trying to make her look bad and making himself look even worse in the process.
Charlie Kirk, which I don't even know which of her conspiracies she's trying to confirm because she's jumped to so many. I mean, is it just me or she abandoned the French Foreign Legion narrative altogether?
Hold on, let me pull up the. Hold on, I have something for that, and I haven't been keeping up on it. I actually have lost track because it was 37 days since Candace last reported on the French hit on her life. I don't lost track. We might be like up to 50 now. But to your point, you're 1,000% correct. She hasn't even talked about that. Like that would seem like that would be a bigger deal than Epic of Gilgamesh.
And so what she's saying is because I can find evidence over here to this, I have no evidence to this, so I'm going to apply. I'm going to convince you this is true with evidence, and then I'm going to convince you that this is true without evidence because this is true. That's what she's doing. And her, clapping like seal, lemmings of followers will just be like, oh, that's great. She's so smart. She's brilliant. Oh, God.
She brings the receipts.
Yeah.
Like what receipts has she brought?
Do you see all the receipts? It's full receipts. I mean, we've had some.
I hope this guy doesn't have a lot of hopes and ambitions for his show if he's going to keep talking about people like this. Just not a good business model.
Receipts already. I don't know where
we're drowning in receipts.
Like we saw, like 9/11, Building 7, passports, Gilgamesh, Nimrod, lots of receipts.
Yeah, and I keep telling people, like, notice how much information she brings. She's already look how much information she's already brought into this conversation, which is crazy.
Do you see how stupid they're trying to make it sound? Like they are literally. Oh, this is just so painful to watch.
All right, let's go.
Other than, the obligatory mass murdering, plundering ancient Christian civilizations and structures, like a million.
They haven't even let her finish a thought yet, literally. And they have stopped her 30 times, however many. So no wonder they're confused.
Iraqi civilians that were killed. That's a given. We just are always destroying Christian relics, but because we have to destroy history. They have to destroy history.
I'm sorry, brother.
I was just saying it's not a given. There's that number of million Iraqis is widely debated.
Exactly. Right.
Why even bring this up? Maybe it was 1 million. Maybe it was 500,000. I'm sorry. 500,000 is a shitload of innocent, non-combatants. So to me, he's an asshole for even arguing this point.
Absolutely.
She's going to state any speculation.
Then again, he's probably one that would defend all the ones that are being killed in, Palestine right now. So, matter of fact, I'm sure he is. Oh, no, it's not that many. Okay, maybe it's half of that. Half of that is just god awful.
It's factual. Really doesn't. That's the least of our problems. It's probably the most factual thing she's actually said, even though it's not factual.
Yeah, killing a million innocent civilians is the least of our problems.
But in retrospect, I have to say that I gotta stand for my boy Colin Powell looking into this because I think he told the truth that they were indeed searching for weapons of mass.
I think that's the whole point of not wanting to go to war. I think that is the number one side effect of war that most human beings want to avoid. That is the main reason for someone being anti-war is because of the collateral damage and the unnecessary death that it causes. So for him to say that's the least of our problems, the least of the issues, is just an asshole thing to say.
Destruction but of a spiritual caliber, mass spiritual destruction. It is absolutely not a conspiracy. You can look this up yourself, that we, like I told you, set up our military base Camp Alpha right on top of ancient Babylon. Our boys then began digging. They said that the reason that they chose this place was because they wanted to protect the site from looters. Except, I guess, the military guys got confused at the top. They accidentally started doing the looting. The instructions just weren't clear over there. This is actually a United Nations article published in 2009 when we had to confess our sins before the world. It reads in part, quote, Babylon was the capital city for two famous kings of antiquity, Hammurabi, who introduced one of the world's first law codes, and of course, Nebuchadnezzar. Partially excavated over the last century, much of ancient Babylon, which lies 90 kilometers south of Baghdad, remains undiscovered. Now, according to a 2005 British Museum report, the use of Babylon as a camp by a multinational force between April 2003 and December of 2004, by coalition forces is, quote, tantamount to establishing a military camp around the Great Pyramid in Egypt or the Stonehenge in Britain. Tells us later that Babylon was indeed plundered during the 2003 war when contents from Hammurabi and Nebuchadnezzar museums and from the Babylon Library and Archive were stolen and destroyed. Oh, well, do we just go to war because we wanted to go on an archaeological dig? And we actually weren't allowed to do that because it was discovered and it belonged to people in Iraq. So they were like, oh, weapons of mass destruction. We're going to need to go there and set up camp and do some digging. Sure enough, that's what the locals said they did. And they just transported things out of there. This is from NBC News. It tells us that a senior U.S. military officer has said that he's willing to apologize for damage that his troops caused in one of Iraq's most famous ancient sites. British Broadcasting Corp reported Friday that after the 2003 invasion of Iraq, U.S. Marines built a helicopter pad on the ruins of Babylon and filled their sandbags with archaeological fragments from the ancient city. It said vibrations in one of the helicopters caused the roof of one of the buildings.
Sorry, brother.
No, so a couple of things that people need to realize here, and I was just double checking this to confirm it. When we first rolled into Baghdad, which I was part of that force, I remember hearing this on the ground. I was in Baghdad for, I don't know, like a week or so when we first hit. And then we ended up going up to Talafar and I'm trying to think the other northern city. Anyways, point being is I remember hearing during that, look, the looters that were looting Babylon were the locals. The allegation is that we caused significant historical damage by being there and setting up a camp around the area of Babylon. But in Baghdad, the Baghdad, it was like the Baghdad History Museum. I don't know what the actual name of it was called. That was completely looted during our invasion by locals. And I just looked this up just so we know. And I looked this up. I said, who looted Babylon during the Iraq War? Babylon was primarily damaged and looted following the 2003 U.S.-led invasion to Iraq, with significant destruction caused by the establishment of U.S. military bases Camp Alpha on the site. While local looters took advantage of the security vacuum, reports indicate U.S. forces caused extensive damage by digging trenches, compacting soil, and driving heavy machinery over archaeological ruins. But the actual looting, stealing of artifacts, was indeed the locals that did it. They understand the historical significance of what was going on. I don't doubt truth, like different if there was fragments of you know.
Oh yeah, he doesn't doubt that the U.S. troops took some fragments of yeah,
different archaeological pieces there and things like that. I don't
basically that they looted some shit.
doubt that.
Yeah.
Like we saw that all over Iraq. Iraq is one of the most historic.
So then, what are you
areas in
arguing?
the world. So, anyways, I don't doubt that. But the actual looting of the Baghdad Museum was all locals.
I don't think that that's what she said. I don't think it was just the museum. I think she's saying that we put that base there right over the top of it and we looted it. I believe that's all that was said. And I believe there's probably some truth to that.
And the actual looting of artifacts of Babylon was also locals, just so we're clear. And I'm sure there was some.
Yeah, you're clear as a bell.
I'm sure there was some looting done by soldiers too, but it was very insignificant compared to
So you just paused this to argue a non-point.
everything else that went on.
And just to follow along with you, what does this have to do with what we're talking about, allegedly about Charlie Kirk?
When did she say she's talking about Charlie Kirk? What does this have to do with what we're talking about? I guess since we're talking about Gilgamesh, it has everything to do with that. I mean, this idiot is just lost.
And that's why I think she's just literally just, somebody said it, she's out of time, she's out of content. This is non-tent because it's literally like, okay, fine, we can have this discussion. Gary's shedding knowledge. We can do some research, find out some new things, but that has nothing to do with what this allegedly was about. Which
When did she allegedly say that we were talking about Charlie Kirk?
is about what happened to Charlie Kirk. Which, by the way, I don't think she's ever theorized what actually happened to Charlie Kirk. But let's go.
To collapse. We were not there to protect ancient ruins. We were there to plunder and to loot and to steal.
Wow.
Right after.
When somebody makes a claim that an individual has committed a crime, a heinous crime in front of God and everybody, completely in public, when they blame one person for that, and they say he did it, and now we sentence him to death, we are going to kill him, we're going to take his life for committing this terrible act. It is not up to people like me, her, you. It is not up to us to prove that somebody else did it. I mean, the burden of proof is on them. They have to prove without a shadow of a doubt that it was him. If we don't believe it was him, and we can show lots of things that point to the fact that it wasn't him, we don't have to have a legitimate suspect. We don't have to have somebody else that we think did it to know that the story isn't adding up and that the evidence doesn't point to him doing it. You hear this argument a lot of time on all kinds of different subjects. The burden of proof is on those prosecutors. They have to prove to us that he did it. If there are things that put that into question, then they got to try even harder. We shouldn't have to come up with an alternative. We should not have to come up with an alternate suspect. They just have to prove without a shadow of doubt at the end of the day that he did it. And they are not doing that, not so far.
We discover that Gilgamesh's tomb is in the city. Locals reported at night Americans believing they were extracting in military operations, but to where? That's the question. Where did they take Nimrod's remains? Why do they want them? What do you guys think they're trying to do with Nimrod's body? Time for you guys to wake up, really wake up, and to understand that many of us are kind of coming out of a fog. Certainly me.
I don't know what they did with it. Maybe it's stashed in Hillary Clinton's basement. I mean, that she had that one email that said she was going to go sacrifice a chicken to Moloch.
Never forget who Nimrod was in the Bible. Right? Nimrod was the original one world government guy, seeking to unite humanity under the Tower of Babel, one system created in defiance of a creator. One world government. This is why the mystery cults, they revere Nimrod. Freemasons revere Nimrod. In Masonic tradition, Nimrod is considered to be the first grand master. One
of the things that Candace does quite a bit, and I said it today, I did an episode kind of recapping what she said yesterday. I said Candace is very good at pointing out evil. I think it's because she just looks in the mirror. I don't know. But she's very good at identifying what she thinks is evil or what is evil or what's suspect or what can be considered strange or odd or out of place. She's very good at that. But she gives no solutions. None whatsoever. None whatsoever. And if you are a Cantifa member, by the way, please make sure you know Cantifa, you got a seat right up in the front of the church. She doesn't give you any solution. She points out.
I think it goes without saying that the first step, the first solution is for people to realize that everything is not as it seems and that we are being lied to. So she is actively, she is part of the solution. It should go without saying. The first thing, the first step of the solution, the first part of the solution is for people to be aware. And the only way for people to be aware is for people like her to put the information out there. And that's exactly what she's doing. Again, just, I'm not even going to say it this time.
The obvious. Sure, there are sinners in the world because that's what we do. Mm-hmm. We sin. And we do it in all different shapes, sizes, and colors, all kinds of flavors. And the problem is she doesn't give you a solution. And I would love for somebody in Cantifa to ask her, what is the solution? Okay, fine. You pointed out this evil. What's the solution? What is the real solution? I would love to hear what is her solution for the problem. Because she's only pointing out the problem. When I was a second grade teacher, the students knew that there was a certain rule with Mr. Whitaker. Don't bring me problems. I have enough of them. Bring me your solution, and we'll evaluate whether or not your solution was the right thing to do.
He just said second graders. He said they all knew that he had a rule. Don't come to me with a problem. Come with me. Come to me with a solution. Second graders. What in the hell? No wonder he's not teaching anymore.
Well, I mean, this even goes back to the original crux of the matter, and that is the Charlie Kirk assassination. Never once has she given us any mechanics. She can sit there and say that the French Foreign Legion killed Charlie, the Jews killed Charlie, but never once has she.
She never said any of those people killed Charlie, by the way. Now, she has pointed out the fact that these people have been hanging around, that they've got, a history of doing things like this and blah, 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 blah. She never said any of these people in particular have done it.
Been able to tell us how. Like, I know we got Baron Coleman and some of her other surrogates out there now.
Baron Coleman's a surrogate now.
Trying to convince people that the microphone that Charlie Kirk was holding is holding him, and that I guess an exploding mic caused the injury on his neck. But beyond that, I haven't even heard that she ascribes to that. But what she's never been able to do is like, okay, if it was somebody else, how did they do it? How did the French Foreign Legion do it? Like, you have to give me an alternative to believe. Don't just say, oh, no, it wasn't Tyler Robinson. He was never on campus, even though we got DNA evidence, even though we got video surveillance evidence, even though that we now definitely have phone evidence, being able to track him exactly where he's at. Like,
do we know that we got video evidence? I know we've got a 12-second video of somebody running across a roof and jumping off a building. I never saw that person take a shot. Never even saw that person laying down prone. Literally the video that they provided as proof was just somebody running across the roof. So, I mean, maybe Gary just believes in his heart that there's more footage that does show him taking the shot or at least laying down prone. So what video evidence is he talking about that we've got?
Forget about all that. Forget about the circumstantial evidence that he was 3.5 hours away. Forget about the fact that he had a firearm there that he brought from home. One of the other things that I pointed out, I don't know if you saw this, but she covered up the fact that her own sources told her that he went to go shop for a firearm after he left.
Yep.
So she did cover that because, again, what she wants to do is omit information. She just wants to cause confusion. She doesn't want to give you any explanation, and she definitely doesn't want to say, oh, well, actually, the shot came from over here, or yes, he was electrocuted and had an exploding mic that doesn't make sense, that defies physics. Like, none of that has to make sense. She doesn't have to give you an explanation of what actually took place, or as you're stating, a solution. She just has to create the confusion and the chaos to make it to where you don't believe what's being said.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100% there. But I was just saying, like, fine, you pointed out some evil mystery cult. What is your solution for this evil people that demonically worship Satan or Gilgamesh or Nimrod or whatever? What was the solution for them? They need the gospel just the same as the person that jaywalked across the street needs the gospel. Just like the person that did this crime, they need the gospel. I need the gospel. You need the gospel. All God's children need the gospel. So, like, what is your solution, Candace? And I would love for somebody from Cantifa to explain, and I've put the bounty out there. Give me a video of her explaining the gospel.
Is that what your channel is about? Are you giving sermons? Are you teaching the gospel? I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure your channel is mostly politics. I mean, just straight up politics. So you can get on there and bitch all day long about politics. And what? Are you preaching a sermon afterwards and praying with folks and trying to bring people to the Lord?
I will play it without any edits if you can give me a video of her actually explaining what the gospel is. How one goes from being a sinner, an enemy of God, to being Christ, a friend of God. I would love to hear that.
Have you ever?
I'm pretty sure it's pretty straightforward. You confess your sins. You believe that Jesus Christ died for your sins, and then he rose again, and accept him as your personal Lord and Savior. I mean, how many people don't know this? I'm sorry. This is just.
Have you ever heard her once say, hey, folks, you out there that are watching, the millions of people that are watching my platform, me as a Catholic, I believe that you need to give your life to Jesus. You need to confess your sins, and you need to start walking with God. Never once has she done anything like that. And
I used to watch Gary before he started doing this bullshit, and I never once heard him say it. So why is he saying that she should be? Like, this guy's such a hypocrite. I can't take it. We're about to have to cut it off. I think we've had about enough for a night.
I think that is very indicative of what she truly is, and that's not a Christian.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't preach on her episodes, because she has a true crime / that type of show, not a daily church service and altar call show. Because of that indicates that she is not a Christian.
So yeah, I'm keeping it out there, and I want people to realize it, because eventually Cantifa is going to wake up. Now, I don't, like I said, the Lord has got to deal with Candace. Candace is in God's hands. Cantifa, y'all the only ones I'm worried about at this moment. All right, let's get done.
This is all very real. It should shock you.
I think we should pause it there. We can pick this up tomorrow. I can't take much more. My head is really starting to hurt from all this. It is just absolutely insane. Talk about a wasted couple hours. Like, that is time they'll never get back. That's time their audience will never get back. And they literally are talking about nothing. Nobody's informed on anything. They literally just played her, interrupted her, and said some dumb shit every single time they did. God, I knew Gary was bad, but I think he's finally met his match. Those two right there, they are perfect for each other. Absolutely ridiculous. I hope Candace takes the time and goes through the pain to watch this whole episode. I feel like she'd get a good laugh because it's just absolutely sad. It's ridiculous. All right. It is getting late. I do have to work tomorrow, so I am going to jump off here. Please, everybody that sees this, if you are not subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the little notification bell so you'll know whenever I'm back on here. Share, 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 and please like the video. Me being a smaller channel, again, that's the only way that YouTube's going to push this thing out there is if people show interest. And just show interest. We need likes, shares, and subscribes. So anyway, hope everybody has a good night. And I'm going to get off here, and we'll see y'all again soon.